Good morning, friends and colleagues of the UNLV College of Education, and welcome to the 6th Annual Summit on Nevada Education. My name is Dr. Danica Hayes, and I serve as the Interim Dean for the UNLV College of Education. And I hope that you are doing well and your loved ones are doing well and are healthy and good spirits at this time. The mission of our college is to achieve prominence locally, nationally, and internationally as a leading source of significant knowledge and innovative models to inform and affect policy, practice, and research in education. The Summit on Nevada Education is an integral part of fulfilling that mission. The first summit was held in 2015, developed under the leadership of former Dean Kim Metcalf. I thank him for his previous vision and leadership as Dean, as well as developing this summit in particular. Each year, we come together to provide an open forum to share ideas, challenges, and lessons as we move to advance education in Nevada and beyond. Today, we are joined by several hundred participants from Nevada and across the country. We welcome educators, administrators, policymakers, community leaders, teacher preparation leaders, and others with a deep commitment to education and educational equity. I want to send a special thank you to Ann Kaiser, who is an account executive at Zoom. Ann was instrumental in providing us a free Zoom webinar license for the event this year. The summit theme is community, culture, and equity, informing PK-16 educational practice and policy. This theme was really important to us this year. Pandemic embedded within pandemic, 2020 has served as a flashlight on the many long-standing, pervasive, and interdependent disparities in education, healthcare, economic, and criminal justice systems in Nevada and beyond, to name a few. This year has also highlighted the importance of a community approach to dealing with inequities and resolving the issues of our time, which includes educational inequity among our citizens. Today, through this summit, we examine some of the trends and issues around educational equity, and we offer and propose solutions for practice and policy today. Our sessions today will feature approximately 25 experts in various realms of education and a few surprise familiar faces in our community. I am honored that several of my esteemed colleagues at UNLV will serve as discussants across 6 sessions today. Before we go over the sessions schedule this morning, I'd like to welcome and I'm very honored to be joined by President Keith E. Whitfield, who will provide some opening remarks. Dr. Keith E. Whitfield is the 11th president of the University of Nevada, Las Vegas. He is the immediate former provost and senior vice president of academic affairs and a professor of psychology at Wayne State University. He received a BA in psychology from the College of Santa Fe and an MA and PhD degrees in lifespan developmental psychology from Texas Tech University. And in addition to that, he did postdoctoral work in quantitative genetics at the University of Colorado Boulder. Dr. Whitfield is a champion of student faculty success, innovation and entrepreneurship, and interdisciplinary research. His broad higher education experience includes developing programs and institutional policies that promote social and economic equity and financial sustainability. He's also devoted a considerable time to faculty development, particularly junior scholars. And Dr. Whitfield remains an active scholar. His research examines the etiology of individual variation in health and individual differences in cognition due to health conditions. Dr. Whitfield works with researchers from Sweden, Russia, Finland, and the United States. He's been a continuously funded researcher for more than 20 years through the National Institute on Aging, National Institutes of Health, and the National Science Foundations. With projects totaling more than $18 million, he's also authored or co-authored over 200 journal articles, books, and book chapters. And his current research project focuses on the relationship between stress and longevity in African-American families living in North Carolina. Please join me in welcoming President Keith Whitfield.
Thank you very much, Dean Hayes, and good morning, everyone. You know, it's so strange saying good morning and not getting that response that you're used to. I think just like you, I'm adjusting to these virtual conversations, but it's still not the same as that old school being in person. But as we've seen, there is a light at the end of the tunnel, and we're going to get back to some sense of normality sometime in the months that come ahead of us. You know, I really trust that you're all excited and enthusiastic about actually being here. I know that these virtual conferences you think about your day and they seem like they go long, but this is one that is actually critically important. And I want to personally welcome you to this sixth annual summit on Nevada education. As Dean Hayes mentioned, I'm Keith Whitfield. I'm the relatively new president of UNLV. I just marked the first 100 days of leading this great university last week. And I look forward to a time when I can get to see UNLV bustling with the energy of our students and faculty. But I'd like to take a moment to thank some very, very special, dedicated, hardworking folks that are connected with our state in particular. One is Governor Sisolak, the Nevada Senators Mo Dennis and Kerry Buck, Clark County Superintendent Jesus Jara, Chancellor Melody Rose, and all of our speakers today. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I know the governor and our state leaders have had to face some incredibly challenging decisions. As I well know, even in 100 days, whatever decision you make is not absolutely perfect and it's challenged, but it's always thought of in the best of ways, what's for the best health of the people that we serve. I know together with these important decisions that are being made, we'll all be able to get through this pandemic. And the decisions ahead in next year's legislative session, hopefully we'll be able to support higher education. I don't envy the choices that you leaders have to make, and I want to thank you again for the thoughtfulness with which you're approaching COVID-19 response and the fiscal health of our state. So educational equity, the theme of today's summit, it's an incredibly important aspect of our state and for our state's development, for our state's future, as it should be across the nation and the world. I can say that we're squarely focused on how we create equity for our students, faculty, and our staff here at UNLV. UNLV is recognized as one of the most diverse campuses for undergraduates in the country. It's an honor, but it comes with great responsibility. Nearly 65% of our students identify as a racial or ethnic minority, with about 30% of our overall student population identifying as Hispanic or Latino. About 1/3 of our students are the first in their families to go to college. I share these statistics because we know one size does not fit all. Support services we put in place for one group of our students may not work for another. So we have to listen to our students and our faculty to make sure we're providing the support all our students need to succeed. This means we have to assess our offerings constantly and evaluate how we're teaching to identify what's working and what needs to be adjusted. While our mission is to provide an understanding of educational experience for every student who seeks a degree, our greater charge is to identify and remove obstacles that stand between them and their degree. Especially this year, we know how hard it is at every level for our students to focus on school and feel connected with their instructors, their classmates, and the material they're trying to learn. We also understand that overall experience may be different, but education they're receiving is not. Our work is challenging to close gaps in the normal year. This year has brought into focus some inequities we know well, such as access to technology, finances, personal support, and other things. These things can make or break an individual student's success. Opening centers and offering student support services are wonderful resources, but we also need to create a welcoming environment, even virtually, where every student feels like they belong. A significant part of that is recruiting and maintaining an educator workforce that reflects our students and our broader community population. Frankly, we need educators who look like the students they're teaching. We mirror what we see and identify our potential future paths in those we see around us. So when a student sees a teacher, an engineer, a senator, maybe even a president, who looks like them, well, then they see what's possible. Our diversity is one of our greatest strengths. It brings ideas, experiences, and solutions that give rise to innovation and advancement. It challenges norms that shouldn't be norms at all. We all need to look into the worldwide movement to advance racial equity and social justice this year. We have systematic barriers in education and have diverse representation throughout our faculty and staff that help us to address those things within our institutions. Societally, we've begun the difficult work of examining and discarding old beliefs and practices. We want to achieve equity. We want to move closer to realizing our highest ideals. It's up to us to do the same work in our educational institutions. In every challenge lies opportunity, even within a worldwide pandemic. Moving to remote instruction and support services has increased awareness of challenges our students face among the digital divide and the need for family engagement. Several ways UNLV has worked to support our students' technological needs is through computer and hotspot loaners, making software available online for free so students don't have to buy it, and partnering with Cox Communications, thank you very much, to lower the cost of internet access into their homes. The pandemic has shown us the vital role of educational institutions in the larger community. It has affirmed our necessity in preparing a workforce that diversifies our state economy, and it's opened up new partnerships with schools at all levels. What do we do when the pandemic ends, though, is I guess the next question. That's the bigger question for all of us. How do we adapt to knowing what we know now? For the long term, how do we continue to support our students in ways they need to make sure those obstacles don't pop back up? And how do we remove obstacles that we have yet to address? That's why I'm glad you're here today. We can do so much more when we work together. UNLV can partner with schools to provide services to students and to help boost family engagement. We can further support the transition from high school to post-secondary careers and higher education, including those through dual enrollment, which I'm a big fan of. We can play a significant role in recruiting and preparing a workforce that's diverse and focused on equity, which we know will directly and positively impact opportunity gaps and will boost achievement. As a higher education institution, UNLV is working to recruit diverse teachers for pre-K through 12 and the university level instruction. This is a marathon effort, not a sprint. So it will take us longer to see greater representation of instructors and faculty of color. The more our students see faculty of color, the more students we're going to see in those future possible careers. We can support current educators and school leaders in our pre-K through 12 districts. Data tell us that teacher attrition rates are disproportionately higher for schools and districts predominantly serving minority students and those with higher needs. We know that the loss of every teacher costs about $9,000 in rural districts, $11,000 in suburban districts, and $21,000 in urban districts. UNLV can help through mentorship programs, professional development, and sharing our best practices to help minimize attrition. I think more than anything else, it means that we as an institution want to reach out and to be able to connect with the K through 12 world and be able to provide our special help that we can do in making sure that we retain great teachers. So circling back to today's theme, what lies before you is an opportunity for strategic conversations about what comes next. We're starting here while in a pandemic. We get to decide what carries forward, what shapes education for the good of all students, and we can decide what we stop doing and what stays behind. We can carry forward what we've put in place in this stopgap environment because it was better than what we did before, and we shouldn't be afraid of that. We can recognize the diversity of our cultures, backgrounds, and experiences as the incredible assets they are to our schools and our communities, and tap those assets to shape our practices and policies. Through our collaboration and shared resources, we can achieve anything. So again, it's my sincere thanks for being here today and for those important conversations that I know you're going to have. Please make sure that you keep that commitment to education and that we work together to be able to create a better, stronger educational system for the state and for the country. With that, thank you very much.